Let's just start out with a cough, man. Let's go.
I know, right? Good evening, everybody.
Let's go. Yeah, good evening. Both of us are coughing. Yeah, how's everybody doing? Welcome to the second extremely professional Reptile Nerd Radio episode. We're going to try and not mess this up too bad.
I'm really sorry for my current appearance. I promise it will grow back soon.
I think you should keep it, man. It's very attractive. You could be like our mascot.
Not at all.
We'll just make you the pretty face of this whole thing, and then maybe we can get Adler to like put my hair on you.
That could be fun.
That'd be cool. That might work.
Yeah, that could be fun.
What's up, everybody? Thanks for jumping into another one with us. I don't even really have anything exciting to say, but we do have an awesome guest, so I'm just gonna go ahead and pull her in because nobody wants to stare at my face anymore. Megan knows what I'm talking about.
Wow.
Yo.
Okay.
I feel like I haven't talked to you in so long.
Last weekend?
5 minutes ago?
I mean, whatever. I never really left, so.
I mean, everybody in my life leaves. It's horrible.
Sounds like
Oh, Adler, you're gonna make Russ pretty. We're gonna put my hair on Russ, and we're gonna use that as the logo for the channel. So, anyways, hi Megan.
Hello.
How are you?
Good. Oh wait,
We're
there's
just saying on.
As you can tell, this is very organized and professional.
Yeah. And my screen keeps tripping out, and Megan's face is like doing this, like, you ever see horror movies where like their face starts like moving all weird?
I can give you.
I think I shouldn't. There we go.
It's so tall.
Yeah, it's an 8-foot banner, and it's like that far from my ceiling right now.
Damn.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for joining us. I know Russ has never met you, so I don't know, Russ. Maybe you wanna start things off for us.
I mean, I definitely pay attention to what you post on social media. I'm infatuated with Blue, that's for sure. But
I'm trying to adjust my camera now. Blue, he's the special one.
I think so.
He's cool.
I really like him.
Sometimes I bring him to shows.
So
I've seen Puppy a lot too because Chad posted everywhere.
yeah, it's becoming like a. I don't want to say annual because it's more than annual, but that's becoming like a trend where every time I see her, I have to go hold her. Unfortunately, this last time it left me with memories. Definitely left me with something to remember.
Yeah.
So
They say smells are the strongest memories that you can make.
Oh, then I'm gonna remember this one forever, man. I swear, I used to think that like retic pee was probably one of the worst smells that I smell on any kind of like a regular basis, and it made that seem cool. Like I'll wash my hands with retic pee after that. And it just wouldn't go away, man. Like I changed clothes, it didn't go away. I showered and I felt like I could still smell it, so I showered again.
It gets like burned into your nostrils. You gotta like burn your
Right.
clothes at that point.
Right, yeah.
You
Just
get
set
some
them on
repair,
fire.
you gotta, like, cut it off.
So I don't remember who it was that told me, but you auctioned off your puppy musk on shirt.
Kind of. I did it as like a joke. It only went for like $10, but like someone said it, and I was like, that's not a bad idea. So I ran up to Phil because Vanessa wouldn't put it in the auctions. I ran up to Phil. He started laughing, but you have to go up on stage. And then he called me up, and I was like, oh, great. But I was like laughing the whole time, and like Phil wouldn't touch it, and I'm just like.
I tried to buy somebody's pants.
Not mine.
don't think that would work. But no, I changed my shirt, so I was good there. I went in the bathroom and like washed my arms and my hands, but it was on my pant leg. So when I went up to say bye to people by where the auction was, I tried to buy somebody's pants. I was like, please, like anyone whose pants might fit me, I'll buy them. And no luck.
It was pretty bad.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's probably not the easiest thing to find.
Thanks, man.
I mean, you're tall.
Oh, don't try and clean it up now, bro. I know what you're saying. Okay, so I'm curious because I know from talking to you that you said puppy was your first anaconda, but I'm curious like when you got into just reptiles in general, and what was the first reptile that you got?
I mean, I've always kind of been interested in them. The first one I had was like a ball python when I was like 5 years old. But like me and my brother would like go and catch stuff all the time because we like grew up going to Arizona. We'd catch lizards, whatever snakes we could find, and we knew the difference between a rattlesnake, so we knew what not to touch.
Fair.
Backpack was leaking.
I'm pretty sure the second day you said that you had your bag like behind the booth and you could still smell it.
Well, yes and no, because like I had changed my pants right before the auction, but I didn't want to put because like I had snake musk on me too. I didn't want to put it in my backpack because I knew that was gonna smell, so I shoved it in like the side pocket of my cooler. And so if you open that zipper on the side pocket, like you could smell it still.
You go to grab a water and realize that you're like looking at it like, is this actually water? What's going on here?
Yeah. So it was pretty bad.
So 5 years old, that was probably around when I got a snake, honestly. My first was a ball python too. But how did you end up getting into I know you have ball pythons, but most of what you have is large snakes and like a large monitor. How did that kind of happen?
I kind of just kept getting bigger stuff as I grew up. I mean, I had my first Burms and Retics at like 14 years old, which I don't recommend. But like I said, I had big snake experience, and like people in my family have been into like reptiles and stuff, so it's just like kind of grew up with it in a sense.
Sure.
So
were they all like wild caught Retics back then?
No, they were morphs.
Oh, okay.
So like albinos, tigers, stuff like that. I kind of start off with the basic stuff and then move into like the more sought after morphs and after that and whatnot.
So why anacondas?
Because I was told.
I mean, they're awesome. Like now, I think they're super awesome now, which is I'm gonna blame on you because if I get one, I can blame it on you also, and it kind of makes me feel like a little less like I'm gonna be in trouble for it. But like how did that kind of come about?
Well, I was like 15, and my parents said, "Don't get an anaconda because one, they smell. Two, the whole stereotype of them." So I was like, "Nope, I'm gonna get one." So I found one on Craigslist. Had my brother go pick it up because like I couldn't drive at the time, and I hid it for almost a year. And then they walked in the room and me holding it one day.
Damn.
So, and then they're like, "What is that?" And I was like, "An anaconda." And they were a little bit mad, but like, I was like, "I have had this for a long time." And they're like, oh, "Whatever." So then I just got more and more and more, and here we are.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
To be a 15-year-old, like to walk in and your 15-year-old daughter's holding an anaconda. I mean, I feel like I would have tried to lie to my parents and be like, "Oh, it's a big corn snake." I mean, I don't know how big it was at that time, but I probably would have tried to.
Only about 3 or 4 feet at the time. She was still really small.
Yeah.
So.
And that was puppy, right?
Yeah, that was puppy. I've had her almost 15 years.
Nice.
Yeah. So. Yep.
Russ.
Yo, I think it's kind of hard to if her parents did know what reptiles were to actually hide the fact that it's an anaconda, right?
They knew. They know.
It doesn't really look like
many other boas. Yeah, I mean,
At the time,
I feel like
when we were
people.
getting it, I already had a bunch of like big snakes.
Right.
So me getting another big snake wasn't that big of a deal.
Just that it stinks more.
She doesn't actually. There was just that's just what they heard. They had no idea. They don't like reptiles.
Okay.
So
I feel like with my family, I could have, like, they wouldn't know the difference between an anaconda and a ball python or anything else.
yeah,
Maybe now they
Yeah,
would.
get away with that.
This is a good question. How'd you come up with puppy for a name?
I didn't. My friend did, who just kind of started calling her that because she was like puppy dog tame. And somehow the internet found out the name and just rolled with it. So that's her name.
It's a good enough story.
Yeah.
I've actually wondered that too, and it's like, because I mean, I've heard people give snakes kind of funny names, like, I don't know, Skittles or whatever, but to have a name like Puppy, it's like I kind of figured that it was because she was super sweet or something, but
yeah. I've never really named any of mine until like recently. All my friends have like named them or whatever. And then once, I started like breeding and like had so many, it just became easier to give them names to keep like records of everything and like breeding. Because they're all just normal breeds at the end of the day. So like to give them a name so like which male went to which female, like, it kind of just made sense.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
Now they all have names.
I mean, I don't know if I would trust the people around me to name my snakes because I'd end up with, like, just the friends I have, I'd end up with, like, ridiculous named snakes. And then I'd have to explain it to people when I post something on Instagram or I'm talking about my animal. Like, I don't know.
I don't know. Like, Blue is named by somebody. I have another one named Arrow. One just didn't really ever get a name, but she was the first one to breed for me, so her name just ended up being Mama. One of my friends like, why don't you call her that? I was like, yeah, it works.
Yeah, I mean, that fits.
So
there's really is the only morph in green anacondas is the albino? Are the only proven morph? Or?
Proven, yes. Kind of. There's also like a T negative. I don't really know how to explain that one because I don't have it. Someone in Texas does, and they haven't really posted any updates in like a really long time. So, don't know. But there is one that I have to prove out. It's aneuphoristic.
Damn.
So she's actually.
So you can make snow anacondas then.
What?
If it proved out, then with the T positive albino, you could make snow anacondas.
Yes.
That's wild.
Wow.
So.
That'd be
damn.
awesome. Yeah. So how many anacondas do you have right now?
20 something, almost 30. I don't know. I'd have to count.
Wow. Okay. Is that including like babies and everything in between that and adults, or?
Yeah.
How big is your room? You must have a huge room.
It's not as big as people think. It's just organized well.
Oh, okay.
So.
Yeah, I can't.
It's
I don't know
longer than it is wide, but I don't always show it because it's like I always set up my camera in like one spot because it's got good lighting right where I always film.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So everything you have is in that room. So you have almost 30
not
anacondas.
Everything. The lizards aren't.
Oh, okay. And how many retics and stuff do you have in there? And
I just got rid of a bunch of retics because I'm kind of over it. But I think I have about 5 or 6 retics right now. Maybe no.
Oh, okay.
I have more because I have some of Andrew's too right now, but like that are just solely mine that I've had for a while. Probably 6 or 7 actually. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you have a Burm or some Burms?
I have like 6 Burms.
Okay.
Yeah.
Damn. In my head, that room's huge. So I don't.
I mean, it's not small, but it's not massive. It's not like a freaking warehouse like people think.
Right.
But I mean, I don't really know how to explain it without like showing you.
Did you build your enclosures?
All but like the stack of Boa Masters, which I
Okay. You hate?
That's the old style from like the 90s, and they're kind of
Sure.
just, they don't work well. I got them like real cheap.
Shout out to our channel sponsor, Boa Master. So there goes that one. That's what we were pushing for.
I guess I don't even know what their new cages look like, to be honest. I just know those are the old ones because at the time I just kind of needed bigger cages, so like I found them cheap. And they worked for a while, and then, you know, because of the high humidity, they started to warp, and it's just like, it's not fun. And the drop-down doors aren't the best, especially for like things that are food aggressive or just aggressive.
Sure.
So.
And they're all wood, right? Like all the enclosures you built are wood?
Yeah.
How do you do that? I've wanted to build my own enclosures because it's so expensive, and also because I think it'd be fun, but how do you do it where they don't fall apart?
It's laminated plywood is what it is.
Oh, okay.
So why is this going off?
MDF?
Hold up. Where did my thing just go? There we go. What?
Is that the MDF board or
I don't know.
or the melamine, right?
No. So it's literally just plywood that's like got like a plastic coating over it. Laminated coating on it. The melamine is what the Boa Masters are, and it's heavy as shit, and I hate them.
Yeah, so
okay.
I got 2 Boa Masters last year, and they're both PVC.
Yeah, the new ones are. Like I said, one of the old kind.
They'd be okay for bigger snakes, but like when I first put my retic in there, there's a gap between the sliding door and the little door ledge that they have, and she got herself stuck in there a few times.
Yeah,
I was not happy.
Yeah, a while back I was looking into making some enclosures, and I know a lot of people use melamine, and I'm glad I didn't because I've heard how heavy they are.
Yeah.
And I would hate to, like, the way I have OCD, so eventually I'm going to be moving stuff around and resituating stuff because I'm like bored and have nothing else to occupy my time. Yeah. And I would hate to have to lift like, 8, 10, 12-foot melamine enclosure. I don't know how I would do that. I wouldn't. Someone's coming over to help.
They're like 300-400 pounds a piece.
Yeah.
I've moved them.
Someone's coming over to help.
Put them where they are, and they've never moved since. I will not be taking them with me. I have new cages on order right now for when I move.
Oh, nice.
So I was like, nope.
So I don't want to skip by this. Christina had a question.
Yeah.
I don't really know. There's a lot of different experiences for that question. I guess with big snakes, my experience is being a woman in the hobby is like people underestimate you a lot because like they think you're small, think you're not strong enough, whatever. Just as long as you know what you're doing, you're gonna be fine, and just ignore all the stupid, dumb. Usually it's men kind of giving you shit, so just let it go over your head. Just ignore it. It's fucking kind of stupid. People underestimate women all the time, especially in this industry. So.
Yeah, I agree. And then when you breed visual albino anacondas, you can hit up all of those guys who are talking shit and send them pictures and be like, ha ha.
Right. Yeah, but women who deal with big snakes.
What was that?
I leaned back and it hit my ceiling fan.
Oh.
Oops.
Speaking of ceiling fans, I'm gonna take mine off and put like a dome light because I hit my head on my ceiling fan all the time. All the time. Like almost daily, I run my face or my eye or the side of my head into the ceiling fan. And every time I do it, I'll like turn and look at it. And I'm so mad, I just want to grab it and like pull it out of the ceiling. But,
But back to what I was saying, most of the guys who kind of give you shit about dealing with big snakes you have more balls than them to begin with because that's why they're giving you shit. Because they don't want to deal with big snakes because they're afraid of them. Where, like me, I get it daily where I don't care. I kind of turn into a joke. I respond to people in like the most sarcastic way when they kind of give me shit about being a girl. And it's the most hilarious thing to me. Like, hate doesn't bother me. I just start laughing at it. So.
Best way to react.
I mean, I kind of feel like people don't hate on you if you're not doing anything. Like, if you're just some random person, you're not really doing anything. People aren't gonna hate on you because they don't care. You know, it's when you're like when you're really doing awesome things, or you're, you know, that's when you start getting haters, I think. And I guess that's a sign that you know you're getting to those levels of success, and those people are jealous because they're not.
Right.
So
anytime you're gonna be somewhat successful in anything you do, you're gonna have people hating on you.
yeah, for sure.
So you just gotta ignore it or do whatever you do to deal with it. I just laugh at it. Like, that's just my sense of humor. So
yeah, I mean, you can't change stupid people's opinions, so people are gonna do what they're gonna do.
Exactly.
I'm sure you've seen like a lot of ups and downs in the years that you've been in this. Like, I just forgot what I was gonna say, so never mind. I'm sorry. A bird just almost flew into my window right here, and I like looked up at it because it turned at the last second, and I had like one of those squirrel moments. So
it would have been funnier if it hit it, and everyone's just like, "What was that?
What was that?"
No, I don't know.
I'll turn the camera around and be like, "So this just happened."
You just see like a dust print from the bird on the window.
Oh man, yeah, that would have spiced it up. So how I mean, I don't know how much you talk about it or whatever, but trying to prove out the anery, like how old are those animals or that animal? Like, how far are you away from being able to actually try to do something like that if you want to talk about it?
So I tried to prove it out once because, if you don't know, I got all the morphs from Ben Rennick after he passed.
Right.
So I proved out the albino. She had babies about 2 years ago. The anery I bred to a double het because Ben had made double hets. And she had babies. She didn't have very many, but she had some. But it didn't prove anything. So because the original breeding was the anery male to the T positive, and either one of those two aneries that I have, because I have a male and a female, that's why I have to prove them out. So I'm not calling it that exactly. I'm just saying like that's what they're labeled as right now because they look different, but you just got to figure it out. Either there's one is nothing, or there's two different lines, and I have two different lines. So I either have to breed the babies back to the mom to prove it, or the babies back to the dad to prove it. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah.
So I don't know.
Well,
it's kind of where I'm at.
I mean, that'd be pretty wild. Like, I mean, I know there's like Morrison yellows or whatever, and yellow anacondas are cool. I actually have a question about yellow anacondas and why you don't have any, but I mean, until I seen the albino, like the adult albino, I just assumed there was no Morrison green anacondas.
Yeah.
Is there any part of you that like wants to get the other albino? Like you said, there's a T negative. Is there?
I've tried. They just won't budge on it.
Right. I mean, that makes sense. I feel like that's the same as if somebody hit you up and was like, "Hey, I want your albino anaconda."
I've had people try that.
I've
had some pretty well-known people try that, and I'm just like, no, and then they get angry. So it's kind of funny.
Right. I bet the numbers that people offer are pretty interesting.
You'd be surprised because of what she's actually valued at, which I'm not going to say, but people have way undershot it.
Yeah.
And then gotten mad when I say no.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have, like, I know I've said this to you at a show, like, it wouldn't surprise me if you were like, yeah, I'm going to sell one baby. If it was like, you know, the prices I see some stuff go at that just doesn't make sense to me. If somebody was like it wouldn't surprise me if it was closer to like $100,000. That would not really surprise me because the people, I don't know who would buy it per se, but I think it would be somebody who wants something that's just crazy and unique.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. Yeah. So the people they're just not into getting rid of it.
Nope. Not that I'm aware of, at least. Or they just don't want me to have it, so it all depends.
They don't want you to have all the cool anacondas.
I have a monopoly of them.
Right. You just build a little army.
So,
That's the
do
goal.
you have yellow anacondas too?
I do not.
Okay.
So
That was
yellow-
my next question: is why?
Yeah, I figured. I've had them in the past. I just am not a fan of yellows. They're a little more on the aggressive side, and they're just smaller. To me, it's kind of just like having like a normal boa. It's just not my cup of tea. Like, I have no problem with them. It's just like not my favorite. I'm not gonna keep something that's, just because I have a name for anacondas doesn't mean I like both kinds or all kinds or whatever.
Sure. Yeah.
I just like the greens. Just fell in love with the greens more than anything else. So
I honestly don't really know. Like, what's the size difference between a green and a yellow anaconda? Like, what's a big yellow anaconda?
okay, so like a big yellow would be like 10 to 12 feet.
Oh,
Like a big
okay.
female.
Sure. So, like, quite a bit smaller.
Yeah. And then males usually stick around 6 or 7, where in greens the males can get. My biggest male is 12 feet, but he's like that thick, where like a 12-foot female would be like that thick.
Right.
So, but they usually average 8 to 10 for male greens. So
Yeah. I mean, still a big snake just because of how heavy it is, but like, that was definitely the thing that surprised me the first time I held Puppy at the first show. Is like you said how much she weighed, and I was just thinking of picking something up that weighs that much, and I was like, oh, that's not really that big of a thing. But it's like when she's around you, and then part of her is like extended off to the side, and she wants to go somewhere. I'm just that's when I started to notice it. I was like, damn, okay,
yeah,
this gets tiring, man. Like,
people ask all the time how I can pick something up that is like so heavy. In reality, you're not picking everything up with like just your hands. Like, you're using your body.
right.
The weight is, all around you. So it's like it's not that big of a deal. But if you're like just using your arms, then yeah, you feel it.
When I was holding her at this last show at Anaheim, I remember at one point you were like, hold on, I'm going to turn her, don't move. And you grabbed her and started pushing her. And I just felt like I just started turning. I was like, damn.
I said, don't move.
I'm sorry. I'm not as strong as I look. Man,
So,
it is like 80 degrees in this room, and it's killing me right now. So,
what is this? What was this?
That's how I felt yesterday.
oh, I clicked on the wrong comment, and I didn't.
I don't know what that
click
one
on
was
the
from. It has like
before
a second part to a comment. What was the first one?
This one, maybe?
I don't
God,
know.
I'm bad at this.
I'm confused.
I don't know. I'm a trained professional, I swear. Everything is well thought out, planned out. I know exactly what I'm doing.
Like, I see the comments, I get it, but it's like, where did the first one start, and what were we talking about?
Brandon, what were we talking about? Yeah, I mean, I agree with. I'm going to assume that that's Lucas. I agree too. Like, when I think of sort of pinnacle animals, like, I'm not going to keep a king cobra. It's just not something I'm going to do. But I think of like really large monitors, like retics and anacondas. To me, those are like the things that really stand out as like sort of like the pinnacle animal. I don't have space for a monitor for sure because I don't have a giant wall to just give one cage to one huge lizard. And I don't have really enough space to where I could take it out and let it cruise around. But
Put it
I
on
mean,
a leash, let it walk in the backyard.
yeah, that'd be. I'll just take it for a walk around the block or something too. I can only imagine. Like, I live in a really small beach town, and I can only imagine like how people would react to seeing me walk like a 4-foot lizard
small
down the street.
beach town?
I live by Pismo Beach,
Oh,
but I live in a smaller town than that next to it.
I
so.
live in like a small beach town, technically.
What's a small beach? Well, aren't you in LA area?
Yeah, but I'm not gonna say it. It's weird. I don't want to do it. People know.
No, you don't have to say it. Yeah, people are
I'm right
weird.
by
You don't have
LAX.
to say it, but. Oh, okay.
So I'm in like the beach cities here.
I just never think of anything in LA as particularly small.
It's a city in LA, so technically I'm in LA County, but I'm not in LA.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, Yeah, so I mean, there's like I don't know how many people are in this town, but a lot of them are like older, retired people, and then there's like college kids and stuff. So I imagine walking a big lizard down the street, that would be kind of maybe I should do it, honestly.
I
It'd
would
be
do it.
entertaining. Yeah. Oh, here we go. Sorry.
Not where I
There's
live, but I would do it.
there's the clarification for what he was
So technically, no one else can breed them because I am the only one with the morphs right now. So,
well, according to the person who was arguing with you in comments on your own Instagram posts about your snakes, they'll find one somewhere else. So I thought that was hilarious that this person was like
so
very adamant that you wouldn't sell them one, so they were just gonna go get one somewhere else. And it's like,
good
yeah,
luck and good luck finding
Yeah.
one in a price range you like. There is one person that has a double het that been made, but in order to make more of the morphs, you have to it's a male, so you have to grow up a female, which takes 6 to 8 years, and then you have to
Right.
hope that the ones you grew up prove out because they're pos hets at this point. So it could be an 6 to 8 year, long process for them, or it could be 12 to 16 years.
damn.
So
What's the double het part of that? What else do they have for?
So anery.
Oh, okay. So the hets are all pos het, albino, and anery.
No, they're het. So all the double hets out there right now, which is just mine and then the one, are 100% het. Whatever that male proves out to be, anery or not, anti-positive.
Damn.
So like I said, there
That's
might
wild.
be 2 different strains of anery there. I don't know. Like I said, I have to prove that out still. So
Right. So you have the visual, and then how many hets do you have?
double hets. So,
Yeah. And there's only one other one.
Yeah.
Damn, you cornered that market for sure.
Well, Ben did, so I just ended up with his animals. So
Well, yeah.
So, at 6 to 8 years for sexual maturity, what kind of clutch sizes are you looking at?
usually on the smaller side, 10 or smaller,
Okay.
small numbers.
Oh wow.
Because usually around that age, you're gonna be on the smaller side of a female, which is like 9 feet is kind of where you want to breed. Anything smaller than that isn't really healthy for her. Like
Right.
10 feet's kind of like you're good. Like, you're gonna get a healthy litter out of it.
Right.
Remember, they don't lay eggs, so it's a litter. It's live birth.
Right. Yeah.
Come on, Russ.
It's fine. People,
bro, is
I
that-
make mistakes sometimes. I started off breeding Retics and Burms and then switched to Anacondas.
Yeah. So are anaconda babies small? Like, do you look at them as being small, or are they a good size when they're born?
I mean, they're a good size. They're between like 12 and 18 inches.
Oh, okay.
They're pretty big, but like compared to like the mom, they're absolutely tiny.
Right.
So
And do they just grow really slow?
Yeah.
Okay. Because
So,
I know,
like-
I don't have any anacondas, but I do have locality boas, and
Yeah.
I would say pretty much all of what I have grows slow, but like I'm blown away at how slow. I have a Peruvian longicauda boa that's 2 years old, and he's like the tiniest snake I have.
yeah. So
Um,
Anacondas, you're lucky if it doubles in the first year. That's kind of about when it's gonna grow, but like they slow down. So like
Damn.
by year 4, they should probably be about 5 to 6 feet.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's crazy to me that it's like
And it
that it's such a large snake at a full grown age, but it
Right.
could be years old and still be like
right.
in the wild. I mean, that's a small animal. Like I'm sure in the wild at that size, it has probably quite a lot of predators that are coming after him.
Probably even older than that too.
Damn.
But like you don't want to like try and get them bigger, because if you try and like I've seen this, and like I've had animals from people that like were way too big for what the age they were at, and like long term they ended up dying because they just got fat around their heart. Like I've cut a couple open that have died, and it's just fat surrounding their heart. And like I mean, if I see something die, I want to know what it is. So I'll cut stuff open, for obvious reasons to figure it out. But
Sure.
if you push an anaconda too quickly to grow, it's going to build up fat and it's going to end up dying at a young age. So don't do that. Like retics can take it. Burms can kind of take it too, but you want to slow them down. Like a baby anaconda, in the first like 6 months, you want to feed them every week, like a pup every week. And once you like get them up to smalls, every 2 weeks. And then you just, as they grow, you want to like slow them down. It's like my adults eat maybe once a month, maybe every 5 weeks. And they get pretty decent sized meals, pretty big meals.
Yeah, I mean, that seems kind of similar to most boas. And unfortunately, you have like, I would say it seems like a good portion of people don't feed very heavy with boas, but then you have the people who do. And like a fat boa is really easy to tell. I don't know if it's harder with an anaconda because their body shape seems to be much more round than boas, than like a lot of other boas or bowids, whatever. But you can tell a fat boa when you see one.
I mean,
it's extremely noticeable.
Yeah, you can kind of tell with anacondas, but usually you don't tell until they're like adults, and then you'll see it. So like if their head is like on the smaller side, but their body's really big, they've been like power fed.
Sure.
You know, but like they're girthy snakes to begin with, but you can definitely tell when something's like been fed too much and it's like fat at that point.
Right. So sorry, go ahead.
With other boas, a lot of people do like a wet season and a dry season type deal. Do you do any kind of cycling with that with the anacondas?
I do like heat cycles, and that's usually just to get them breeding. And it's usually around like when their natural like rainy season would be, and like I'll mist them down more, and like it's just basically to help get them into like a cycle.
Right.
Okay. And so I'm assuming with like in my head, I feel like if I had a big anaconda, I would want to keep it in like the same kind of cage I would want to keep a big retic in, but then I would also want it to have like more onto that with like a huge water thing. So how do you go about that with having quite a few and then being like water snakes or whatever?
So they have pretty long cages to begin with, and then they have like these massive water bowls that I have to like clean every day just about because they love to poop in them.
Sure.
But yeah, no, I have my biggest snake has this like massive water bowl she can fit in and float around in her cage. Like people think my cages are small, but they're actually not. They're actually pretty deep. They're a lot longer than your average cage. I can tell you that because I built them. I built them to fit my room. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah. Have you ever took them like set up like a kiddie pool type thing? I've been thinking about doing that because it's actually finally in the 70s here, and I'm like, man, I should get like some kind of pool and set it up in my yard and just toss snakes in it.
Did back, what was it, like 2015 when Puppy was like maybe 12 feet. I was hired to do a photo shoot, but it was at like they wanted to like do underwater shots and like swim with this thing. And I was like, the only way I'm going to do that is if you find a natural pool, which is like no chlorine, it's someone who you literally have to build like a pond as a pool, you know, so it's like natural filtration. You basically have a pond that filters into it, whatever. So they did that. And like, there's a video of it somewhere of me swimming with it, but like this was a long time ago. But it was kind of cool because like they did the photo shoot and they're like, hey, do you want some pictures and video for yourself? I was like, hell yeah.
Yeah, of course I do.
I'll have to send you the link to that. That's kind of cool. It's on my YouTube somewhere. I should probably post that on TikTok.
Uh-oh. TikTok's the big thing now.
Well, TikTok pays, so it's kind of cool.
Oh, I'm there. I'm going to make one right now.
Yeah.
Instagram for surely ain't paying nothing. No, I mean, not that I'm, have a big Instagram, but
Facebook pays okay. But
yeah,
you have to have a following. Like it's based on your numbers, which is kind of stupid. Because like people who like have a lot of have high quality videos, but not a big following on their page, they don't get anything, which just kind of sucks. Like it should be based on the video, not your page.
We were actually talking about this yesterday, and it kind of bums me out that the people that I watch and follow the most on like like YouTube say, that put out videos that I really enjoy, that I think are like well done and educational, those are never the people who have like big followings.
No.
You know, it's always the people who do crazy stuff that have, you know, much larger followings. And it's kind of a bummer.
Because, I mean, I've talked to a bunch of them about that because I don't like that stuff either, like the sensationalized stuff.
Yeah.
It's just that's what gets views and that's what pays their bills, basically, which kind of sucks. So it's like this is what I try to do. I'm not good at it, I should say, but like you kind of want to do a mixture of both, where it's like don't sensationalize everything, but like do educational and like you can do both. Like I don't think I do sensationalized stuff. Like I just have big animals, so it looks like that. Like I'll literally just be doing my everyday thing and film it. People are like, holy shit, you know? It's like
there's probably ways to go about it where it's not wrong. You know, like you can add a little extra flair to something without making it like just total garbage or whatever.
Right.
You definitely have funny videos. Like my ringtone is still you cussing out a snake.
I forgot that was you.
But I've learned to keep my phone on vibrate because I'll be at work. I work in a restaurant, so I'll be at work and my phone will go off and it's just you cussing out a snake. And
what was it again?
It was well, I can't play it on here, but it was when one of your retics, like you were opening the door and it like struck out at you and you yelled fuck off at it and then you said Jesus. But it was funny, and I mean, I just said it as a joke, like that would make a great ringtone, and you were like, "Oh, give me your email, I'll send it to you." So it's been my ringtone ever since. You know, but so like, there's definitely a level of comedy with a lot of the stuff, whether you intend it to be that way or not, because apparently you have
those videos,
a couple snakes that are jerks, and some of them try to pee on you also.
Yeah. So all the videos I post that are like funny or whatever are just my reaction. Because I have a security camera in my snake for obvious reasons. But like anything that happens that I find funny, I'll post it just because it's funny to me. I mean, I don't really care what other people think. So it's just like, if I get a good laugh at it, yeah, why not? Like, there's no harm in it. I flip off a snake. People hated that video. Me flipping the snake off.
Yeah.
They thought I was hurting it or something. Like I pinched. The tail did not get pinched. First of all, and if you watch the whole video from start to finish, I should probably explain it. But like, I cleaned her enclosure. She's, by the way, that video is like 3 years old. I just had it saved forever. She's like 3 times that size. She's in one of the bigger cages. Like, she's not that small. It's, you know, whatever. I even posted like a video of her recently because people were so mad about that video. But like, you see me take her out of like the holding tub to put her back in her enclosure, and like she was fine. And then she goes in, and I can see her head, which is because there's a wall there. You can't see it with her head in there. I see her head turn, and she tries. You know how like retics kind of like have like an anchor point. She did that to my wrist. So that's where I'm like, okay, she's gonna bite. And you see my reaction where I shove her off of me, and she ends up striking at that exact moment, biting herself. And that's where I go to close the door, and her tail's right there. So I flick her tail, which is just like a tap. That's how you get any snake to move, because they're ticklish on their tail, or basically whatever you want to call it. So, and then she comes up out of it after she bit herself. And that's where I'm like, you know, you see the video. So
I remember hearing something about, like, I can't remember who it was that was telling me that, like, people were getting mad about, oh, you slammed the door on, and it's like, for any of us who have snakes and see that, it's like, no, dude, you can tell, like, you literally just pushed it closed. Like, there was the snake's fine. It's not.
Back to what I was saying, like, I had to shove that door shut because it's one of the Boa Master cages. And like I was saying, the door's warped. So, like, it rubs at the top. So, like, you have to, like, shove that door shut in order for it to close.
Okay.
So I didn't like hit it out of anger. It's just that door just is like kind of warped because of the material it's made out of, which is why I hate that material. But yeah, no, there's a lot of people upset about that, and everyone called like animal abuse. The snake was not hurt whatsoever. The tail was fine. Like, I flipped the snake off. There's some guy so mad about it that he made like post after post after post and like was harassing my friends to tell me to be nicer. He kept calling my snakes kids.
That's crazy.
It was a weird situation.
But yeah,
That video is a lot older than people think it is.
Sure.
So she was only maybe 10 feet at the time. She's a lot thicker, and I think she's close to 14 feet now. Nerd even made a video on my video because of like it kept getting sent around.
You know what? That might have been what I seen actually. I feel like it was.
It wasn't even a bad video. Kevin was like cool about the whole thing and like explained it. He got the morph wrong, even though he's kind of like the one who imported OGS, which that was an OGS tiger, so he kind of should know, but it's okay.
Right. Well, you know,
It's
I guess
fine.
you can't remember everything.
Nah.
Yeah, I think that was actually the video that I seen where they were saying that like people were pissed and it's ridiculous because, I mean, what do you? I guess in that situation, like, what do people expect you to do? Just leave the cage open and be like, well, the snake's gonna bite me. All right, go
Yeah,
ahead.
I'm
Just leave
not
your hand
getting
there.
messed up by a retic. Have you seen those bites from Retics?
I have one on my hand right here from yesterday.
Okay, that's not even bad.
No, it's not.
I'm
It
talking
was
about like the bad bite, especially by one that big. Not gonna happen.
No, it was like she's a 50% super dwarf that's like a little over a year old. She's
So
not
it's a
big.
tiny one.
Yeah, she's not big. But it was weird because, I mean, her reaction, she's super chill, you know, all the time. And I just went to get her out and she like, she was like anchored around her hide. And when she started letting go, she like moved kind of weird and scared herself. So she just decided that biting and wrapping my hand was the best bet. So, but I mean, with a big retic, yeah, I mean, dude, I don't want to deal with that.
Dude, they can
at all.
Down, they can, with their teeth, they can cut down to your bone. Like they will completely mess you up.
Yeah.
So,
I think that the majority probably of people who keep snakes or keep retics would probably see that and be like, oh yeah, I mean, what else are you gonna do? Snake's fine.
People who like understand that breed of snake specifically completely understand the video. It's the people who don't know anything about snakes, just saw like a viral video, they're like, that's wrong. Fair enough. You don't know like anything about it, like I'm not gonna hate on you for it. I'm just saying like before you hate on something that you don't know anything about, maybe educate yourself a little about what's going on.
Yeah.
I kind of explained the video, but I probably should do like a full in-depth explanation of it. But it's just like at this point, why? People are gonna hate no matter what.
I was actually joking about that with a friend of mine the other day. They were asking me like why I read certain books or why I try to learn about certain things, and I was like, well, honestly, I just like arguing with people, and I can't argue with them if I don't know what I'm talking about. And it was a joke, but I mean, that's really what it is. It's like, you know, I don't know anything. I don't know nearly enough about colubrids to have a conversation with someone.
Neither do I.
You know, so I don't tell them anything because I'm going to look stupid, you know?
Right. If someone asks me a question about something I don't know, I'm going to straight up tell them, like, that's not my specialty. I don't know as much as, like, you know, and then I'll tell them who to go to. It's like, if you need information on this, go to this person or that person, whatever the question's about. There's always someone who's going to know more than you on a subject, and it's better to just kind of guide people in the right direction rather than giving them stuff you don't fully know about.
Yeah, we did an Instagram live one time, and somebody messaged me afterwards on Instagram and was like, "Hey, I was watching your live, whatever," and was like, "Hey, I'm looking to like breed these ball pythons. What do you think I should do about this? Or like, should I pair these two, or should I pair this one with this one?" And I was like, I don't even know what you're talking about. Like, why are you asking me this?
Yeah.
Like, they're telling me ball python morphs, and I'm like, this is the first I've ever heard of that. I don't know what to say. I should have just been like, oh, breed these two together and just played like I knew.
No. So then they may end up with like nothing because it's all recessive or whatever was happening. See, I don't know enough about ball pythons. I have a couple, but it's only like the morphs I like or I enjoy. So like that's what I do. But I have like one clutch maybe every 2 years.
Oh, okay.
So it's like I'm just doing it for fun because I like those ones, you know. And half the time, like because they're small clutches, like I think I've given like 3 away just because like my friends want a pet, and I was like, here you go for it. And I help them set it up, and like I walk them through it. Like I still sell my friends rats and stuff that have gotten them from me. Like I help take care of them just because like they want an easy pet. You know, that's, you know, not a cat or a dog. If they live in an apartment, it's perfect.
I remember at some point, I don't know why, but I was like, man, maybe I should get a couple ball pythons and just try and breed them just for fun. The only ball pythons I really know of that I like I like pieds. I just like normal pieds, but it's like, what am I gonna do? Just buy 2 pieds just to make some pieds and sell them? I was like, I don't.
You can never go wrong with like banana pied stuff, because everyone
Yeah.
likes banana stuff and everyone likes pied stuff because it's appealing to the eye. Which I have stuff like that of too.
Right. Sorry, I'm gonna Russ, entertain. I gotta go to the bathroom. Give me a second.
Entertain. All right. Let's see. I already asked about the litters. Are there any other special care requirements?
For anacondas, based off of
Yeah.
what exactly?
I don't know. I mean, they're obviously a tropical snake, right?
Yeah.
They need their water. I don't.
So they kind of have the same requirements as like a retic is. It's just a little higher humidity and a water bowl big enough for them to like soak in whenever they want. The mistake I see a lot with people is like they think they're like strictly water snakes, and like people who get babies will set them up in like almost like a fish tank type of thing with like a little bit of moss for them to hide in. I've seen that quite a few times, and then they're like shocked when I tell them, I was like, no, like give them 2/3 land, 1/3 water. And they're just like so confused. And I was like, you need to give them the option to be on land and water. But what a lot of people don't understand is like on the land part, you need a cool side and a warm side. They need the option. And the water, I always put my water on like the cooler side, but it's like not all the way at one side. So they have like an area on the cool side to sit water, and then like cooler and then warm.
Right.
So it's like people think they stick a lot of time in water, but like I have some that'll spend 75% of their life in water, and other ones that'll only be in the water for like 25% of the time. So it's like it's the snake's preference. Don't just pick one option.
I have one retic that spends days and days in her water dish.
Yeah.
What is your ambient temperature at usually?
In my snake room?
Yeah.
Well, during breeding season, I drop it to like 72, but it's usually sitting around 78 to 80.
Okay.
So
I don't know if I missed if this was like a precursor to that, but like what's like the hot temps for like a anaconda?
like I was saying, it's kind of similar to retic. So their hot side is like 88, 89. Their cool side is usually around 80.
Makes sense.
So, but like I was saying,
Have you ever
like you want to give them the option like 1/3 water, 2/3 land. You always want like a cool side and a warm side for the land part.
Okay, so you put the water like in the middle of the cage?
Not in the middle, but it's not all the way to the cold side. It's like more on the cold side, but so they have room to like go wherever they want, like around their water, so they can be like so they can sit in the middle, so it's right in between, or they can sit on the hot or the cold. And the water's like in between like the middle and the cold.
Do you use hides?
For the babies I do. Not the adults.
Not for adults.
No.
I was thinking about that because like I know some people even like will have really big retics, and it's like, I mean, it's hard to find something that you can turn into a hide for a snake that's that size.
But make one yourself.
Right. Are they? I guess as babies, they're probably like somewhat shy and just like pretty much anything is. But do they? Is it similar to retics? Do they grow out of that fairly easy and they don't seem to mind interacting with people or people walking, back and forth?
I feel like they're a little better than retics because retics will still have that like food response even when you're just walking by them. With anacondas, they don't have that strong food response to the point where like they'll strike at anything when you open a cage. You can definitely tell when they're hungry though, but it's just like you just gotta read their body language. But as babies, they tend to hide more and like they burrow into their bedding and all that other stuff. And like especially when you upgrade babies, I always give them a hide. Well, even when they're like first born, I give them a hide and like whenever I upgrade them, I always give them like a hide on the warm side, hide on the cool side, and like the water bowl's kind of in the middle, but like I was saying, closer to the cold side.
Sure.
It's just because it makes them feel more secure, and when you're upgrading something, they tend to stop eating because it's a change for them. So the hides help them adjust a lot better.
So all of my boas are great eaters, and I've heard that some, they're like with certain locality boas, maybe they're hard to get started feeding. I've never had baby snakes to try and get feeding, so like my retics will eat my shoes if I took my shoe off right now and it was warm and I put it in there, they're gonna eat it. And the boas are great eaters. Are anacondas? Is it the same thing? Are they just great eaters for the most part?
Not really. They're sometimes can be very difficult to get eating. It all depends. I have some that have started right on rats, others that have started on frozen thawed chicks. Some are just picky. We're to the point where like I've had to give them like fish or something. It all depends on this animal itself, but for the most part, I always try to start off on these live rat pups. And if that doesn't work, okay, I'll try, frozen thawed chicks. Because a lot of the time, I have had a lot just eat a frozen thawed chick like within the first week or two, and not be super picky. But like I said, they can still be picky. So, and if the frozen thawed doesn't work, I move to live, and after that, it's like quail and then fish. Okay. So. And do you feed kind of like a variety throughout most of their life as far as like prey items? Yeah, as adults they get a combination of like rats, pigs, and rabbits. As babies, because chicks are like cracked them. I'm not even kidding. If you have one hooked on chicks, it's pretty difficult to get them off chicks. So that's why I try and switch them to rats as soon as possible. Then once they're big enough, I start to change it up a bit, just because it's good for them. Or I feel it's good for them. Some people don't ever change it, which is fine. I mean, they still thrive, but obviously when you get to like an adult, you're not going to continue to feed them like jumbo rats or whatever, because it's going to be too small. You're going to feed them 10 in one sitting to even like, see anything. So. Yeah, just looking at how big Puppy is, I'm thinking to myself, like, how much does that rabbit or pig weigh? It's just, I mean, I don't even have, I would have one. I would have space in my freezer for one, because I'm one of those weird people who doesn't have a deep freezer. I just, like, my freezer has like, there'll be like a thing of ice cream and then like a bunch of frozen rodents and stuff over here next to it. I have a freezer specifically for my food, but yeah. I mean, Puppy ate a 4-pound pig today and you can't even see it in her. Damn. So, I mean, she could probably take like an 8 or 9 pound, and then you're like, yeah, I could probably see that. But I don't like to give massive meals all the time. Just because, like, with anacondas, they, again, can build up fat really quickly. So, especially as adults. So, I'm sure you're going to Pomona. Are you going to bring me a different friend to hang out with, or am I going to hopefully not get peed on by Puppy again? I mean, I'm bringing my fiance. If you can hang out with him. Oh, so I can hang out with him. Yeah. He was really cool. I only met him that one time, but yeah, that was his first definitely cool California show. Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Isn't he from like Chicago area? Chicago. Yeah. Okay. So. Well, I feel like he would have more of a problem with me holding him than a snake. I feel like if I put him around my shoulders and I was just like, I feel like that would be, we're not there yet, I don't think. So. No.
How soon is Pomona?
August 12th and 13th.
Yeah.
A couple weeks away.
It feels like it's not as far as I want it to be. If that makes like,
you want it to be further away?
Because I spend too much money all the time.
Don't do that.
I can't. I'm like, Adler's in here telling. I don't even know what the comment was about, but a little bit ago, Adler was saying, "Don't even think about it." I don't know what he's even talking about, but I'm sure I'm sure in my head I'm scheming like to do something money wise that I shouldn't do. So
You should buy the last Anaconda I have available.
dang, you heard it here, Adler. Where you at, bro? What do you think? Brandon. You know what I mean. What are you talking about, man? I'm not thinking about
Do
nothing.
you see the comment above that? The fat finger?
Oh boy. This got weird quick. Adler, she's just doing what she's supposed to do.
I
She
don't know
breeds anacondas. She has one for sale. She's just advertising for her business. You know what I mean? She's not doing anything wrong, man. Man, I don't know. I want to hold one of the baby ones. I literally the only anaconda I've ever held in my life is puppy, and I guess I just started with a huge one. So I don't know. I don't even know what a little one's like.
I've only held a baby green anaconda.
There's so many jokes in everything you just said.
I honestly was just thinking that if this was Lucas's podcast, that would be getting clipped, and that would be on somebody. Adler, help me clip that, bro. I'll put that somewhere for sure.
Need a
I
short.
started off with big ones. I don't actually have any experience with the small ones because I'm just not like that. So
You could have held a small one at the show. I still have a baby. There was 2 of them there.
did you have 2? I thought. Oh, you must have sold one, huh?
Yeah, I sold one.
Okay. And what's the one? It's a male?
Yeah.
Adler, it's a male, dude. It'll stay smaller.
So
You know?
females are more desirable, so they end up selling really quickly, which leaves me with
Sure.
a lot of males, which I always tend to be male heavy on my litters. I think that's like not like a genetic thing, but it's like just in my experience, I've always had more males available than females. It's because like with anacondas, when they breed, the males don't fight each other. Like they're not like retics. Like you can put them together. Like more males, the better, because they create breeding balls. It's basically like they wrap around the female, and whoever can like get there first is the winner. So they just like wrap around. And it's like a shoving match. Like whoever can push each other off, but they're not
Damn.
aggressive towards each other at all. So
That sounds like a hell of a party.
it's a big one.
So, Blue is a male, right?
Yeah.
Has he bred?
Yeah, he's my best breeder actually. He's fathered most of.
Okay. So, what I really need is a blue and puppy baby. I didn't even think of that. That's like perfect
I'm gonna
scenario.
be waiting for that one because she would not breed this year.
Yeah.
So hopefully next year she'll go. She's kind of like one of my. I wouldn't say bad breeders. She's just difficult to get going because like the bigger they are, they tend to be more difficult. And like
Okay.
a lot of people have said that. Even like, Ben used to say that back in the day. So she's bred for me 2 or 3 times. She slugged out her very first time. And she's given me 2 good litters since.
I'm sorry. I couldn't not draw attention to these.
So, yeah, I have 2 females I kept from Puppy and Blue from her first like good litter, and one looks almost like a hypo. It's like super bright and light, but like barely any orange markings like on her face. It's very weird. Her name's Pickles. I post her all the time, and then the other one I don't post as often because she's like changes colors. It's weird, but she looks so much like Blue now as she's aged. She literally looks like his mini-me. But like she also has that like lightness to her that Blue doesn't necessarily have. And
Sure.
I don't know why they look like that. And they're the only 2 that I kept because like when those 2 like came out, they were like pitch black. They were so dark. I thought, oh cool, like I don't really have any dark ones. I'll keep these 2. They'll be cool. They turned up being the lightest and coolest looking ones I've ever produced. Besides, 2 positives.
I'll take one of those. How big are they?
They're
I figured I'd try.
4 years old now.
Oh,
so
it's perfect. Yeah, either one. Just you choose and.
No. The other one's name is Funky because she's got like weird spots on her where like the spots kind of mush together and just look weird and funky. So like my friend was like, she looks funky. She's like, you should name her that. And I was like, okay. And then that's now her name.
Do anacondas change visually very much over time?
Yeah, so they actually come out like almost brown, like a brownish green.
Oh, weird. Okay.
Yeah, and they get green as they get older, and they can either get lighter or darker. So usually by
does any of like that side patterning stuff, does that change, or is that pretty much kind of stay the same?
It'll get more yellow as they get older because,
Okay.
like as I said, they start out pretty brown, and like their bellies aren't super bright yet. So like sometimes they can get like an orangish yellow to them, or they can just like turn super bright yellow. It all depends on like the baby at this point or like the parents, because like I have one pair that like when I pair them they create almost like a reduced pattern green. Like it's like really cool color green, but like the dots aren't as like clumped together. They're a lot more spread out. So it's kind of weird. So I kind of have gone through my, breeding stock, if you want to call it that, and like picked out which adults go best with each other.
Right.
So that's kind of what I do now.
So you kind of just have like certain animals that you'll breed together, but you won't breed those to other animals?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, I have in the past, and I'll change it up once in a while. It's just like, it depends on what people want. Because I get a lot of feedback from people. It's like, oh, hey, I want one to look like this, and like, or like that. And it's like, I know which adults will create certain looks at this point. Because like, I've been doing it for 10 years or more. So I kind of just like go with based off of like other people's feedback of what, they want or like what I think would be cool. So
when was your first like breeding with anacondas where you actually produced babies?
Late 2014.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to get in trouble for this question. How old were you when you bred anacondas for the first time? Because I feel like I feel like you're younger than me.
How old?
And I'm 31.
Okay, I just turned 29 last week.
Yeah, I was gonna say I feel like you're younger than me. So that's a trip, dude. That's crazy.
I was 20 the first time I did it.
Yeah, it's just crazy to think that you've been messing with anacondas that long.
I mean, I've had them since I was 15, so yeah.
I wish I had cool big snakes when I was a kid, dude. The only thing I had was like ball pythons and corn snakes and stuff, which are fun. I enjoyed it when I was a kid, but it's like I grew up like growing up in the 90s. Maybe I'm lucky I didn't experience like all of the retics being wild caught.
I didn't. I mean, I didn't experience the retics being wild caught, but you definitely used, like, I guess when I kind of got into it, like a lot of stuff was still being imported, and so you would still get a lot of new morphs once in a while. And once they kind of put the ban on it, you knew the retic hobby was kind of like gonna end at some point because you couldn't get new stuff in or localities, like anything. So like, there's definitely an expiration date on stuff like that, which sucks.
Right.
I mean, even anacondas at this point, unless you want to continue to just stick with normal greens. But everyone in retics is like, not, in my opinion, not everyone should have retics. Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
They're
completely.
Need experience with them for sure.
Yeah.
But most people want the morphs, or at least in the past, it was all morphs who could get this first, whatever. So that's kind of what drove the retic hobby. Now it's localities, but like I said, everything cycles out, which sucks because, I still enjoy a lot of the morphs, and I will always have some retics that are certain morphs just because I like them. Visually, they're just cool to me.
Sure.
That's why I got rid of a lot. I didn't get rid of them. Like my brother took them because he breeds them. So I was like, listen, I don't want this many retics anymore. I'm not looking to breed them. I just kind of want my pets. So I was like, here, take them, do what you want with them. I don't care. So,
I mean, I agree with that. Honestly, there's so many times where I'll be at like an expo or something, hanging out at friends' booths because that's just, I do that. I just bother my friends and people will come by and start talking to them about, a retic and want to buy it. And you can tell by everything that they say that they don't have any idea what it is that they're like. I've been standing there where somebody will walk up and be like, "Oh, what kind of snake is this?" And they're like, "Oh, it's a retic." And then, oh man, they'll ask like a couple questions and they want to buy it, and I'm just like, this. I feel like this isn't going to end well.
What is this comment? That didn't sound right. What was I talking
Oh, I was reading that too, and I don't know. I don't know.
It was me saying I don't care. It was not that I don't care about the animal. It's just I didn't care about breeding them anymore. Is what I was
I
trying
don't
to
know.
get at.
I think that came up before that. I don't think that was
don't
it.
know.
But what do I know? So you just kept like a couple retics that you want to keep as pets. You're not going to produce any.
I might produce some because I do have some that would go good together. It's just I'm not trying to focus on that. I just, I've always had retics. I've always had Burms. Anacondas is like my passion for everything. So it's just that's probably it. Yeah.
This is a family-friendly podcast.
No, I just don't really want to breed retics all that much. I mean, I never really did a lot in the past. I just, I do a lot. I used to do like a lot of breeding loans with like my friends and stuff, and like whatever. Because like I had really cool retics and like whatever. I always wanted to focus on the anacondas. It's just I don't want as many retics, and like I said, my brother breeds them and stuff. So like I was like, take what you want. These are the ones I want to keep. There you go. I have a deal with my brother, so it's just a lot of bad shit.
That's the answer. I mean, that'd be respectable, What's wrong with that, Kenny? Well, Russ, you take this over. I'll take my phone, but I want to go outside and smoke because I'm not going to smoke in here because of them. So I'm going to take my phone though. But I do, before I mute myself, tell me about your monitor because I see you post it and it seems very awesome. Oh, you have two? Okay.
Yeah, I have a black dragon and just a normal water monitor I've had for like 15 years. Both are females. They weren't supposed to be. I had a third one for a while. That also ended up being a female, and I originally had got it to breed. And like I said, I had 3 females. I was like, so my brother ended up taking that too because he also breeds monitors. So, yeah. I had a croc monitor at one point. He was really cool.
Yeah, I think monitors are really neat.
Yeah, they're fun. But no, the 2 I have now are just pets. So, yeah.
And I have my.
You had a croc monitor?
Yeah. His name was Max.
Yeah.
I got it. This is a picture I took. That's a bad picture.
That's crazy.
So, it's such a glare. But yeah.
I think they're awesome, but that's one of a couple animals that actually makes me uneasy. Like just knowing how, man, I've seen pictures of like the teeth. I don't know if I would do it.
It can mess you up. He wasn't like a normal croc monitor. So here's the thing: my friend actually raised him, and I got him after that. It's a long story, but I had him for about 4 or 5 years. And he always had some kind of issue. I don't know if, even as a baby, he had like a neurological thing or whatever, but like he didn't have full use of his back legs, like ever. Like he could climb and stuff. It's just when he walked, he looked funny.
Okay.
But he was super friendly, raised by hand, like super cool. I mean, I used to bring him to shows and stuff too. This is when I volunteered with US Arc a lot because they always wanted something at the booth to like bring people in, like whatever. So I built this like little like thing for him to like sit on. He would just sit there all day long and just watch people. It's kind of cool.
What a trip.
Yeah, but I walked in my snake room one day and he was just kind of dead. I don't know what happened. I don't know if it was like a neurological thing, but like it sucked. But I did have his skeleton done. I have this huge 4 by like 3.5 foot framed thing of just a skeleton. He was an 8 foot croc monitor. So the way it sits, I'll have to show you a picture of it.
Jesus.
It used to hang in my wall, but I took it down when we painted. So I don't have it up right now. But he's like, you can see his body and then the tail just kind of curled around him. So
that's wild, man. I've seen monitors that are a decent size, but just thinking about an 8 foot lizard blows my mind. I want to see one for sure. Like I would love to meet somebody or like become friends with someone who has big monitors, so I could go mess with them. Because it's definitely something that I would love to have. It's just a matter of like, I feel like they need more space than I can give them, so I'm just not gonna do it until I can give them that, But they're super awesome. Like every time I see one, it just like the level of like awareness and what seems like intelligence to me of a monitor, like definitely, like I feel like Retics are intelligent. They just do a lot of dumb stuff, but a monitor seems like it's just way above that. Like,
I mean, with any monitor, especially croc monitors, you can watch their eye and see like almost what they're thinking, because it's like they focus on things almost like a bird. You know how they like dilate their eyes? It's the coolest thing, even with any monitor. But like watching a croc monitor's eye, like I have videos of it on my YouTube from like 5 years ago. It's really interesting just to see them like focusing on things and like looking at things, and like even my water monitors now do it. And like when I take them outside, if a plane flies over a bird, you see them kind of turn their head and like you can watch their eye like paying attention to these things. It's really cool and interesting.
That's crazy.
You don't get that with snakes, not as much, but like monitors definitely are on another level of intelligence.
I mean, I've realized that when I'm looking at one of the Retics, if their eyes dilate, I move my hand. I figured out real quick that when they have that like intense look and their eyes start getting real big, I'm like, I'll just leave you alone. I'll come back later. But so the water monitors are like the same thing, just like hyper aware of everything.
Yeah, on a smaller scale, obviously, but yeah, than a croc. But yeah.
What do you keep your monitors in? Like what size of?
Right now they're in like 8x4x4.
Okay.
I will upgrade them once I move though.
Yeah.
One's a lot bigger than the other one. The other one, I mean, could be in something smaller. The Black Dragon's a lot smaller than the normal. She's just also younger. So, but I have 2 of those cages. So, and they have big water bowls. The thing is with mine is like, they have the full 8 4x4 cages to like roam around in. And what I did is like, I cut a hole in the side and put a doggy door. And the water thing is like on the side of it, so like on wheels, because like when I do water changes, I just roll it outside, and I have like a RV pump and just dump it in there. So like I can close off the cage, so the water thing's completely separate from the cage. So it's kind of cool.
Damn,
yeah, that's pretty neat.
Really cool.
So they have the full cage to like roam around, do what they need to do, and then water's separate. So.
Is the water like enclosed?
Yeah, they can't get out of it.
Yeah.
Then you can you can access it whenever you want. I'm just saying, it's like they can't get out of it.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Russ, do you have anything you want to say?
I don't know, man. You keep covering everything I want to ask.
I keep doing like going live and doing things when I'm really tired, and I just forget like half of what I wanted to say. And I'm like, dang, this can't be entertaining. Like one of these days I'll figure it out, or I'll just sit here and drink like energy drinks while I'm doing it, and hopefully I can be like really in it,
So.
Do you get new animals ever, or has that not been a thing for a while?
I haven't recently. I mean, yeah, I do once in a while. Just depends on what piques my interest. Because I've had a lot of animals, and like I've kind of narrowed down what my main interests are, and I kind of just stick with that at this point. But like when I was younger, like obviously, I wanted this, I wanted that. I mean, if I were to get another animal right now, I'd want a Bell's lace monitor. Like that's kind of like my next thing that I really want. That I'm super interested in. Like, so
me and Russ talk about those all the time. Yeah. They're so cool.
That's something I haven't had, but like definitely it's in my future. Like I do want one. I just don't want one right now. Does that make sense? Because like,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I have a lot going on with Anacondas. The wedding, all that other stuff, moving. So it's just like I've known about a lot of this like planning in the last like year and a half. So it's just like when the time's right, I'll get another animal that I really enjoy and want. So.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, with the monitors, it's easier not to be like. I've been known to be impulsive. Let's just say that. With the monitors, it's easier not to do that because the monitor is expensive. the ones like a lot of the ones that I like are harder to find, and then I also have to have a very huge, expensive enclosure. So that's helped me not just be like, I want it. Let me just throw my paycheck at it. But that's one that like those Bell's lace monitors are so cool. And every time I talk about monitors, I forget that that's the one I want most, and then Russ reminds me. And it's
I'm
like,
also very picky about it because I want it to have like a certain look. So I
sure,
don't want
Right?
any of them. I just want I want one that's gonna like
Because some of them just don't have that right look.
no,
I
yeah.
which
agree.
is fine. You know, if you want one just to say you have one, that's fine. But like I'm gonna be picky. I want what I want. So
I mean, that's how I am with a lot of stuff. I mean, I've wanted a cow retic, like Rennet Ghost is my favorite morph. It has been since the first time I seen one, and I want both of those, but I haven't gotten them because I never see the one well, with the cow it's harder because I don't know if there's really a way to look at a baby cow retic and have any clue what it's going to look like when it's older.
yeah.
With the Rennet Ghost though, it's just I see them and they just don't look like what I want, so I just don't buy them. You know,
Rennet Ghost has changed a lot over the years, which seems like they got a lot
yeah,
duller. Like some back when like the originals were first popping out of like the original mail and everything, they were super bright and vibrant. It just seems like they got kind of washed out over the years, which kind of sucks. But they're
Yeah.
still super cool, you know, morph. Like I love them; they're great.
I mean, I think they're awesome, but the reason I like it is like seeing the pictures of. I'm assuming some of the pictures I've seen are the original male, and then some of them are like
Well,
just
the original
older
male
ones or something.
dead.
Right? No. I'm saying like seeing older photos of. I would assume that I've seen that somewhere, but they're that like super pale, like eerie color to them is why I like them, and so many of them that I see like look kind of like a funky purple albino, or there's way too much yellow, so it's like
They
it's
also
something
get
I want.
better with age too, a lot of the time. So
I didn't know that for a long time. I do now, so who knows? I may have just saw one and been like, "Oh, it don't look right," and it probably was perfectly fine. But I've realized that over time.
It also whatever other morphs get like bred into it can also change it and make it more dull or more vibrant. It all depends. Like my brother had a sun ghost back in the day. He bred it, and I think because he went through a phase where he sold a lot of his adults too, where he kind of like downsized.
Sure.
But he had a really cool like sun ghost. It was super bright and like vibrant. I loved the thing, so it was cool.
I figure I'll have one eventually. Like I'll find one that I want, or like with the cow, maybe I don't know. Maybe I'll see the parents and be like, "Oh, hopefully the baby looks like that." Finally, do it.
I'll make you a cow. How about that?
You're gonna make me a cow?
I have a cow.
Well, yeah, I know.
Bring
But
it to another OGS or whatever, and you're gonna make more.
sure. Is it a cow, a golden child cow, a something cow?
It's a motley cow, possible super tiger sunfire, head albino.
That's
I
too
posted
much
him
in
the
my
other
brain
day.
to remember. I feel like I've seen it.
But
I
like,
feel like I've
I
seen
mean,
it on
you
the
can make a cow just from, you know, orange ghost stripe stuff to a phantom.
right.
So,
I don't know how true it is, but I'd heard over time that like the golden child cows a lot of the times end up with the most spots or the darkest spots, or
they
I don't know how true
tend
that
to
is.
get a lot of darkness to them. We're like so if you get a normal cow, they're gonna have a lot of yellow to like where their white is. They're yellow and white when they hatch. Tiger also kind of brings that out, which is weird. Considering mine's supposed to be a super tiger, and he's bone white, like no yellow in his whites and like barely any yellow spots. But he doesn't really have any like brown spots. He's got like black spots and like gray spots.
Okay.
He's weird.
I mean, they're cool, and like for me, it's something where like I want to have a nice display, like a large enclosure set up, so I can just stare at this cool snake all the time. I don't want to breed them, I don't really want to breed retics.
Right.
But it would just be a really cool thing to walk in the room and see those kind of things. So
Yeah.
well, so we're almost at an hour and a half. Russ, do you have anything you want to ask or say?
I mean, this is the only question that I really have. I can look up myself because I don't know Megan's actual how much history of anacondas you know in the wild. But like in the wild, do they eat like the larger fish as they get
Yeah.
larger, like the paraima and stuff?
I mean, yeah, they've been known to eat basically anything because every snake's an opportunistic feeder. So like whatever comes by them, they're gonna try and eat. You know, I mean that's just a known fact about snakes. So yes, they'll try and eat anything that can like come within their range. But a lot of this stuff is like they kind of feed on like more rodents in the wild, at least for the larger ones, like capybaras and stuff.
Right. I know capybara is a big diet staple for them. I just didn't know how fast they really were in the water to be able to catch a fish.
They can move pretty quickly. Like I said, usually it's just like, you know, whatever can swim by them close enough, they're gonna grab it.
They just
And
grab it.
they'll eat turtles and stuff too. So yeah.
Okay.
That must suck when they got to come out the other end. Whatever didn't digest.
Hey,
Yeah,
they can
right?
digest bone, they can digest a shell.
No, yeah, I guess that's fair.
So,
I just
Technically,
never
it
really
is
thought of
just-
anything eating a turtle.
yeah.
Technically, it is just expanded rib bone, right?
There you go.
So I never plan things well enough to have what you might call wrap-up questions, but I guess I'm curious since you've been around and you've been keeping snakes a lot longer than us. I think this was what I was getting at earlier when I seen the bird almost hit my window. But you've probably been around for a lot of like ups and downs and stuff, and we've definitely had a little bit of that over the last year or so. What would you like to see change? Is there anything that you feel like maybe needs to change within the community or within keeping reptiles, or things that you might like to see change?
I mean, the one thing I hate is like, I'm just like for the big snake breeders and stuff, kind of vent who you're selling to, because like that's where we run into a lot of problems.
Oh,
Just like don't just sell to anyone to make, you know, money. Like I get it, some
Sure.
people do it for like a living, but it's like be a little more responsible about it and make sure they're capable of like taking care of it. And I've said that for a while, so it's just like I won't just sell to anyone if I know, you know, you're not capable of doing it. I'll be like, listen, like I'm not the person to sell you something.
Sure, yeah. Do you have an issue selling somebody their first retic or their first anaconda or whatever? Or is it just depend on like who the person is or how they approach you?
It depends on who it is and like whatnot. Because like if it's their first one, I always tell them like I always ask questions. It's like, do you have big snake experience? Do you have this or that? It's just like if they have like minimal snake experience, I won't sell it to them. Like just in general.
Yeah.
It's so that if they have had like a lot of snakes and they're just looking to get into something bigger, I always tell people start with a baby and like learn as they grow. Because like especially with anacondas, they grow slow. It's like you have time, but like I don't suggest starting with like a retic because they grow fast. And if you aren't prepared for that, like they're gonna mess you up. They can't.
Yeah.
I'm just
No,
like
for sure.
But I always tell people who buy something from me is like, you know, if you ever have any questions like throughout his entire life, don't hesitate to ask. Like, I'm here to, you know, answer questions, help you out, whatever.
Yeah.
But don't just jump into like reptiles thinking you're gonna get something big and be successful with it, because it's like you do need experience with the bigger stuff. Because it's like it can be dangerous and like you need to be extra responsible with stuff like that. Otherwise it's gonna come back and look bad on the hobby.
Yeah, definitely. I wish that was more commonplace for sure. I mean, the biggest snake I had before I got my mainland male, I mean, I got him as you know, a small snake. He wasn't a baby, but I mean, he was maybe 6 months old or something. I can't remember. The biggest snake I had was like 4.5 feet before that. It was a boa when I was a kid. But I mean, I knew enough to get it. What really surprised me was the enclosures thing, because in the first year I bought a 4-foot enclosure and then I bought an 8-foot enclosure. So I think another way that, you know, if you get an anaconda, I guess you don't have to worry about buying an 8-foot enclosure in a year. So that's a plus.
Yeah, I mean, you just kind of have to learn as you go. And then if you can get experience somewhere else before buying one, try it. Because a lot of people will kind of help you out. And like, especially like if you volunteer somewhere, because a lot of like stores, like big stores and stuff, will take volunteers and kind of teach you about stuff.
Sure.
So like that's kind of nice and stuff. But or like even just people who want help cleaning cages will like, hey, yeah, I mean, I'll teach you the ropes and like do stuff. Like some people do that. So I always suggest like kind of getting some hands-on experience with bigger stuff before jumping into the big stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure anyone who has big snakes is not going to turn down help cleaning enclosures.
No,
So,
as long as like you're supervised, not left alone with something you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, for sure.
They can mess you up. Just watch and observe first before putting hands on something. Is what I always try and say.
Have you ever used UV lighting at all with any anacondas?
Not really. I mean, I take them outside and stuff, so it's not like
Sure.
they're deprived.
Yeah.
But not necessarily, because lizards, yeah, obviously, but the snakes don't need it as much. And like I mean, I have never had an issue, but again, they also spend time outside, so it's not like they don't have it. I mean, I take them outside at least weekly if the weather's good. Like right now, it's warm, so like yeah, I'll be taking them out a lot more.
Sure. Yeah, I've been going outside every day with snakes now.
Yeah.
This is literally the first week all year long that we've had days that were 70 degrees or higher. It's been like below 70 all year. So, okay. So is there anything that like, that you're like excited about or enjoying or things that you're hopeful that are going on? Like anything positive that's going on that that like excites you or whatever?
Like in the reptile community or
yeah.
I don't know.
I feel like that's a hard question, but
it is. I mean, I've been around so long, like it's just, things are changing constantly. So it's like trying to keep up and be excited about stuff is like definitely different when you've been around.
Yeah.
Like when you're relatively new, within the first couple of years of being in the hobby, like you find out something new all the time. When you've been around, it's like, oh, that's happening. It's kind of like you've heard it before, but it's like slightly different, if that makes sense.
Sure. Yeah.
So it's like, I think the next thing is just like, for people like me, I guess, you've been around, you're excited for like the next show because you get to hang out with your friends, you see everybody. Like I don't really buy stuff at shows at this point, but I do enjoy going and hanging out with all my friends. I don't see like depending on the show, people come from around the country to go to the show. So it's fun to see people you don't see all the time. So like I'd say I'm excited to like do that a lot more. Because it is kind of show season now. Now that it's warm, you have this show, there's, Tinley's in October, stuff like that. It's like every month or every couple weeks you have another show.
Yeah, I mean, I think the first show I went and I was only excited about the animals, and I hated how many people were there. And then every show since then, I have to like try and make it a point to actually go around and see the majority of the animals because I just talk to everybody. It's like people that some of them are people that I talk to or see regularly, but some of them are people I only see at shows. Right. So it's like, that's like my little social network thing.
It's like a social event. It's also good for marketing if you're like a business, because like seeing people in person is completely different than talking to them online.
No, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, shows are just fun. Like I said, I don't see all my friends all the time. I have friends all over the country that I see once or twice a year. But when we're together, we act like we've never been apart. So it's kind of cool. Like I do get excited about shows just to see, people I don't get to see all the time.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely.
So. Are you going to Animal Con?
I don't think so. When is Animal Con? Isn't it September?
September 15th to 17th.
I don't know.
So right in the middle.
I don't know. I don't really have that big of a following to go, and plus I think you have to be invited to be like a creator to go.
Yeah, I don't know how any of that works.
I don't really know. That's what I heard last year, because last year was the first year. But I know they are planning on making some changes and stuff. So, like, I have no idea.
I mean, you could go and just not be on any panels, right?
Yeah,
just go and show yourself.
Even if I was on a panel, I'm not good at public speaking. I am extremely shy in front of a lot of people, and I hate attention on me. So, I don't think I'd be doing that.
Yeah,
I don't think it's that bad because you're up there with 10 or 11 other people. It's not
right.
Just you.
But like me,
yeah, but you're like sitting in a line next to them. and everybody's looking at you,
Yeah,
and
I'm not-
everyone's looking at you.
Fair.
They're not looking at any of them. Like,
Yeah, I'm not good in like a setting. Like I'm terrified to get married because everyone's just gonna be staring at me. Like I hate that feeling of just like having the attention on me. If I can deflect the attention and like not be the center of attention, I'm all for it. I do not like it at all.
I'm the same way. I have to try. Like I have to really put an effort into. Uh-oh.
I read the comment. Listen.
No, dude.
I'm different at shows because, like, I'm not in front of everybody talking, but I'm very outgoing when I'm in my element of, like, reptile shows. But if you walk up to me on the street and you're like, hey, Megan, I'm just like, hi. I'm very awkward.
I don't know if I should name drop and call out who did this, but her anaconda musked on my shirt and on my pants, like where my pocket is. Okay. I mentioned this to somebody, and that somebody smelled my pocket, and I couldn't help. Dude, I started busting up. Do I name drop them?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Ah, shit. Okay. It was Vanessa. So
that's normal.
no, it was so funny though. Like I just wasn't. I was like, yeah, I got anaconda musk on, and she was like, oh, it doesn't smell that bad. I was like, what do you mean? And she smelled my pocket, and I was just like,
well, to be fair, she did. Okay, she was holding puppy the day before, and she got it all over her shirt too. I had to bring her another shirt because she had already gone to dinner. This was on setup day. She held puppy, and puppy got musk. That's where it originally came from, all over Vanessa.
Oh, okay.
Vanessa. I love Vanessa.
She's hilarious. I talked to her online a little bit, but it wasn't until I like met her and was wandering around the show with her that I realized how hilarious she is. She's absolutely spent the majority of that time making jokes or up to some kind of shenanigans.
Oh,
so,
yeah. You should see me and her outside of the reptile shows. So we hang out quite often. She only lives like one state away. Like we see each other at least once a month outside of the shows.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, if I go to Arizona or whatever, to like my family's got a vacation house there. Anytime I go there, Vanessa drives out. She's only a couple hours away, so like we spend a lot of time together outside of like reptile related stuff. I love Vanessa, but yeah, no, she had musk all over her, and she's like, I smell. And obviously, she's like, "Can you go grab me a US Arc shirt so I can change?" So I had to go bring her a shirt.
I went to go to get a shirt from the US Arc booth like that day, and I was going to change, but there was nobody there, and I was like, "Dang!" And then I remembered that I had a shirt under their table, so I was like, "All right, cool, whatever." But
yeah, I mean, you could have just asked Vanessa. I was like, "Hey, can I put $20 in the donation box and just take a shirt?"
I never carry cash with me though. I'm not gonna put my bank card in there and be like, just charge 20 to it later.
They have like the scanner thing. Just donate.
No, I was going to. It wasn't there. I can just leave it there.
Look it up on the website. It's not that hard to find.
Look, I'm not as smart as you might think that I am.
I mean, it's common sense.
Oh, I don't know what he's talking about, but
oh my god, the Vegas show.
Yeah. I don't know what a sushi journey is, but it can't be good. So
I was with Dave Levinson and a bunch of people, and Vanessa had gone with Cusco and Matt to hang out, and I went to sushi, which was really bad, but it was I forget exactly what happened. But me and Vanessa in Vegas the night before with Cusco in the backseat of my car. I'm the only like sober one at this point. But we were driving down like, the strip, and Vanessa is catcalling every person she sees, which was hilarious, but it was like positive stuff too, but like it wasn't like normal catcalling, like whatever. Right. It was like complimenting people, but in like the most hilarious way. So it was funny, and then Matt and Cusco were in my backseat, just like awkward as can be, like what is going on? I'm sitting there just busting up, all windows down. It's like 100 degrees. I had my sunroof open. She's like yelling out the window. And she tried to climb up the sunroof at one point. And I was like, no, we're not getting pulled over.
Dang.
It was a good time. That was a fun show. It wasn't like a busy show because it was like the first one in Vegas for the Reptile Super Show, which like show wise it wasn't the best. But like obviously newer shows you need to build up. But just like hanging out with everyone after was probably like the best time ever.
Are they doing that again? The Vegas show? Because I feel like I haven't seen anything about it.
I'm sure they'll have it on their website if they are.
Yeah, I've looked. I haven't seen it, so I don't know if it's not a thing or they just haven't planned it yet. Who knows?
But if you look at the comments, me and Vanessa together is wild.
Yeah, apparently these are the kind of things that I want to just be a fly on the wall and just observe all of the crazy shit that goes on that I don't get to see. Like that's part of the fun of the shows. Like I mean, I do the same thing with friends of mine. I make absurdly ridiculous jokes with them, and I hit on Adler. Adler's here. We'll call it out for what it is. I hit on Adler. I also walked up behind him and like put my hand around his waist when he was talking to people. So we have a good time, you know?
Yeah. No, Vanessa's one of my best friends. She's actually in my wedding.
So, nice.
Yeah.
Well, it's been like an hour and 40, and I feel like we could just talk about random shenanigans for another hour. I don't know if that's yeah. But I appreciate you coming on and talking with us. Someday I'll actually be like prepared for something and not tired, and I'll have like a good layout. Today's not that day, but yeah, we appreciate it. I know we were both like really excited to talk about anacondas.
To be fair, the best podcasts are the ones you kind of wing it because like you can go off the rails just like this, and it turns into just a good time, kind of like bullshitting around, but you still talk about reptiles and like all the fun that goes with it, like shows, people of the show, just like everything. I find those like the best ones.
Where I always just wanted it to be casual, like
questions gets kind of boring.
Yeah, I always just wanted it to be like kind of casual, like just like if you were hanging out with friends talking about reptiles and such, because I mean, I listen to a lot of podcasts, but it does get, you know, sometimes when you hear just the same questions asked to different people, it doesn't have really the best effect for me, at least. So
yeah. So,
but yeah, we appreciate it. Thank you. And I'm assuming you're going to be at Pomona, right?
Yeah, I have a booth set up and everything. So I don't know who I'm bringing at Snake-wise, but I was planning on bringing Puppy. I can bring Blue. He's just not as impressive, but he's just as friendly.
I mean, they're your snakes, so you can do what you want to do, but I wouldn't mind meeting a different one. Is this like a special request? Like, hey, bring a special friend.
No.
You've talked with me on camera and in person, so now I can be like, oh, we're friends. I want to see the snake.
Sure. But
you can pull the friend card.
Thing is like Puppy's like the big wow factor for like the people who don't know. But the thing is, if I'm selling anacondas, I bring her because she's so big, and I need people to know the capability of what you're getting into and how big they actually can get. So she's like a great representation of that because of her size. So like someone who's buying a baby and they ask me like, hey, how big does it get? It's like, there's an example right here. Like, this is what you're probably going to end up with if you keep it forever.
Well, there you go. Adler wants you to bring Puppy, so
maybe
Puppy it is.
Maybe I'm holding her. It all depends. Because like Brahmi, here's the thing. Back in the day, I was allowed to let people hold the snakes. But then what happened is somebody bought like a 9-foot Burm, was told to keep it in the bag, didn't, walked around with it on their shoulders, and ended up biting another person walking by. So that kind of killed it for everybody. Vendors, whatever. So if you have like a big snake out, you have to have it behind your booth. Which is fine. I have no problem. It's just like when I bring Puppy out of her cage, a swarm of people come around because of her size.
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure both times I've held her, it was like after the show ended, and that makes very little difference because there's still like, you know, like 15 people just standing there. So, and then they all like, and then people want to like just come up and touch her, and I
Like
could see
people
how
have
that could be an issue.
no sense of stuff, so they'll just reach out and like, she's fine with her head being touched, but you need to know that's not okay for like 90% of snakes.
Right.
So I always, if someone else is holding her, I'm usually standing by her head and telling people not to touch her, or like I'm trying to guide her in
Right.
some way. So, but yeah, Rami just has asked me not to take her out, which is fine. But I always say, like, after the show, when there's less people around, like, I'm allowed to take her out, hold her. Like, I just, respect the show promoters and, like, everyone at the show. It's just like, she's not going to do anything. I've been bringing her to shows for 10 years, if not longer, since I've pretty much had her. She's had any type of size. I just, be responsible about it. So, like, I also don't want a million people holding her because she is heavy, and, like, moving her from one person to the next stresses both of us out. Her and so when she was smaller, it was easier. Now she's just a lot. So that's why I either before the show, usually I take her out before every show, just like because I clean her enclosure a little and whatever I need to do, and then after is when people want to hold her and whatnot and get pictures, which is fine. I just won't do it during the show now, and I haven't for like years. So.
Especially at Pomona, because Pomona, like, this is the first Anaheim I've been at, but Pomona is so much more crammed on the inside. Yeah. Like, I was surprised how huge it was inside of Anaheim, and there was space to move around and stuff. I could see how it could be a problem, but
yeah.
Derek has a question for you. I don't know if you want
to. Yes and no. They kind of go through like a small quarantine. It's just I don't let people handle stuff at shows, so I don't really risk a lot of like contamination with stuff. I know there's like airborne whatever. So they go through like a week of like being in a separate area and stuff like that. Other than that, not really, because like I'm very strict on like no one's holding anything, and if you are gonna hold something, you're probably gonna end up buying it. I'm not just gonna hand you a snake that's probably gonna bite you, because all I have is big stuff, and Retics are known to be a little nippy, and same with baby Anacondas. So that's why I don't let people hold stuff.
Maybe I shouldn't hold the baby Anaconda if you have it at the show, because
it's not that nippy. I'm just saying, like, in general, people don't understand. They like want to hold something.
No, I'm just saying, because you said if you hold it, you're probably going to buy it, and I'm like, yeah, maybe I should. I've tried to like not carry cash because I spend it. It's too easy to spend, but it's even easier to spend money with my card. So there's like no way I can win. I don't know what to do. Maybe I'll leave the cash at home and only have like just what I need in my bank. That way I don't spend money.
Yeah.
Well, I need to make dinner also because I haven't eaten. But
I still have to eat.
And Russ lives in the future too. So it's what, 10 o'clock? No.
It's going on 9.
Oh, it's not that late. You'll be all right.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Well, I appreciate you coming on, and to everyone who was listening to us ramble and in the chat and stuff, we appreciate you guys also. Hold on.
As always, support USARK and USARK Florida.
Oh, yeah. Why do I never say that? Yeah, definitely do that.
What, USARK Florida? I just say USARK. I feel like it's a broad thing to say, like just in general. But I get Florida more specific.
I put it in my posts, like, please support USARK and USARK Florida. But every time I've ever, like, pretty much any like Instagram Live or any of these that we've done, I've never said like, oh, please support USARK. I'm horrible. I'm terrible. All right. Well,
promoting too.
What?
At what?
We're pretty bad at promoting too.
Hey, I've been doing better, man. I've been doing better, dude.
Not so much me.
Well,
still not getting them in till Friday.
Saturday night. Hey, join us tomorrow.
Yeah, right.
All right. Well, you guys have a good night. It's nice chatting with everybody.
Thank you very much.